It has been so rainy lately. I don't remember September ever being this rainy, but it is making it so that the average high temperature is a little bit less than 90 degrees every day. So it's officially fall up in my chaotic garden. So with that said, we need to get these fall seeds started now. I am going to do some soil blocking today, as well as a few direct seed sowing too. My name is Shelby if you are new here, and let's get started. I meant to get this soil laid down a few days ago in my tomato patch that I just revived with you guys. I pulled all the weeds and I got some mulch laid down, but I didn't get the soil laid yet. And the reason I want to do that now is because I want to get my cucumber starts or my cucumber seeds in the ground. We are starting off with our cucumbers. Now, the reason I'm starting cucumbers right now is because although the weather is still very severe, it is not as bad as it was. It's been around like 90 degrees or so every day, which is a lot better than like almost 100 degrees every day. Believe it or not, that makes a really big difference. So by the time we start approaching like mid-October, the weather will be much less severe, and that will be when the plants are at their most vulnerable state. So I'm hoping that the pest pressure will have mostly come and gone by then, and we can really utilize a great fall cucumber season. I'm in zone 9, just for reference, in Florida. So for us in these warmer climates like zone 8, zone 9, we are starting basically our second spring. So there's a whole lot of opportunities available to us. So if you're wondering why I'm starting certain things, that is why. Now I'm starting the National Pickling Cucumber, the Homemade Pickles cucumbers because I want to make some pickles, and the Muncher cucumber. And now this is mostly just like a salad cucumber. I love the Muncher cucumbers. I've been making this Asian salad with them, which is just strictly from cucumbers. I don't know exactly what it's called, but you put like sesame seed oil and soy sauce and all different types of stuff, sesame seeds on it. Oh my gosh, it is like one of the best things I've had in a long time. So I'm hoping to grow a bunch of Muncher cucumbers so I can make a ton of that salad. Now I feel like it's not that hot right now, but I am literally out here sweating. So if I look like an absolute mess, then that is why. It's probably not even sweat. It's just like probably the insane humidity that is happening right now, because as I said, it has been crazy rainy lately. Like every single day there's an absolute torrential downpour. So the humidity, you can cut it with a knife right now here in Florida. On the bright side, I haven't had to water my plants in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I just use my popsicle sticks to mark all of my plant starts, because by the time the next season comes around, the popsicle sticks just like disintegrate into the soil. And usually by the time the plants start growing, I can identify what is what. And also I can look back on a video and be like, what the heck did I grow here, and see what I grew. So I'm doing the National Pickling here. I do this one here, the Muncher, and I forgot the Homemade Pickles, right? For reference, my rows are I think about 24 or either 26 feet long, and I have 4 of them. So the first 2 rows in this particular part of my garden, and this is a no-dig garden, so we don't use any type of fabrics or anything like that. It's just really deep mulching, and I just continually add a lot of mulch every single season. The first 2 rows are tomatoes, and I'm going to do this whole back row as cucumbers. And what you're not going to see today is me probably doing some green beans in this row right here. I just don't have the seeds that I want. I want to make sure I get the stringless varieties. And by the way, I don't even know why anybody would ever grow the string varieties. If you know why, definitely drop a comment and let me know. I'm going to do about a 1 foot spacing for these cucumbers and then go and thin it out later if needed. Typically I plant my cucumbers in a raised bed and I'll just really put a lot in there. So I'm trying to do it a little bit more strategic when I'm planting in this particular part of the garden because it's got the hanging trellis method. So I'm going to do like a single string type method with a mix between a Florida weave through here so that the cucumbers could have some trellising structure. Put a few bonus seeds down just to give me a little insurance policy. Okay, I got all of my cucumber seeds in the ground, as you can see, and then I'm going to do some green beans later, and then there's some tomatoes up front. I have a few different varieties of tomatoes up there. Actually, I kind of forgot what all of them were because I did a whole bunch of different ones that were new to me this year. So it should be a really interesting place in a few weeks. So I'm just need to grab some more soil for my soil blocks. But this is pretty much what they end up looking like. I'm just gonna crack up these ones that are kind of dried up and reuse them. And what I'm gonna do right now is just experiment with using just straight up soil for my soil blocks. In the past, I've used like coconut coir, worm castings, perlite, which I would recommend all of those things with regular soil. But I wanna see if it will work well with just straight up soil. Because I know a lot of people don't wanna go through the process of investing in those products because that can all add up. You can use it for, it goes a long way, but it definitely can all add up, especially if you don't have like your own worm bin or anything like that for worm castings. So I'm just gonna do soil today and see if it'll hold well enough for my soil blocks. Okay, my screen, my lens, the second that I walked out here, is fogging up. That is how bad the humidity is right now. I'm just gonna give it a little clear. Is that better? It is awfully humid lately. It's not even the heat because it's only like 88 degrees right now probably. So that's like nothing for me at least. It is the humidity. But we're back out here now. I got my soil, got my seeds, all kinds of stuff, and I'm ready to get a ton of seeds started. Before I get started, I'm gonna get some candles lit. It is so mosquito-y right now. This is a citronella candle. This feels pretty good. Probably work. We shall see. Okay, let's see. So I got these new stainless steel trays for seed starting purposes for my soil blocks. I wanted stainless steel just because I was trying to move away from the plastic trays that they break, they don't last a long time. And I found that these were a really good deal. I don't remember how much they were. I will include a link below. It came with 10 trays. So if you're trying to start a lot of soil blocks, then this is a really good option. And if you want drainage, I might go back later and actually drill holes in the bottom. And then you could actually set one of these on top of another one and water like the bottom tray, and then have some holes for drainage if you wanted. So that's why I'm excited to give these trays a shot. Ooh. I don't know if you guys can see. It turned out perfectly fine. What I would say, if you are going to try to start your soil blocks directly in soil without it being like a fancy mix of like perlite, coconut coir, and worm castings and all that type of stuff, if you're just doing straight up soil, I would pick really good soil or compost to start the seeds in, because really the whole point is just to give the seeds like a healthy jump start by including a lot of really good nutrients and things in their temporary home before they move out into the garden. So I did a total of 5 trays, and each tray holds 30 cells, which is a total of 150 potential starts. That's really exciting stuff because that's a whole lot of food that you could be starting very simply with very little materials. I have, you know, just a handful of seeds to start talking about over here. I'm gonna try to segment it into classifications so it's easy to follow along, because there is so much that can be started right now if you live in a warmer climate. I don't know much about the colder climates up north, what they're capable of getting started, but I'm talking mostly like zone 7 through 10, what this mostly would apply to you. First, I'm going to go through varieties that you can start now. I'm just not starting today because I prefer to do some of these directly in the ground, and the raised beds, they're just not ready, or the ground or wherever the heck I plan on putting them, it's not prepared for these seeds. As a rule of thumb, for me personally, if the seed is on the larger side, I prefer to direct sow it. And by that I mean most of your beans. I'm going to direct sow the black coat runner beans, a cantaloupe variety, just because this one is a 60 to 70 day maturity. And all of my zucchini options, I'm going to be doing a gray zucchini, your standard black beauty, and the Italian striped, which I did really enjoy. I'm not starting those today just because I find that it's not necessary to start them ahead of time. However, if you do have an area of your garden that is ready to start them, then you can definitely go ahead. So that's kind of what I wanted to note that. Any of your root vegetables, such as like a turnip, parsnips, carrots, I had a really successful harvest with the Scarlet Nantes carrot, and I always like to do a rainbow carrot variety, and I feel like radishes are just like a given. It's like a shoo-in. So those are some options I'm going to be planting once I get like the longer rows prepared and just more areas for my root crops. Also, I don't have any of the seeds here right now. I'm going to get some short day onions started. Anywhere from September through December is a really good time to get your onions started, especially if you live in Florida. And the short day varieties would be ideal for that. So I do need to get some short day onion seeds coming up here really soon. And all of that will be in a different video where I'm going to do all of these different type of like root crops and crops that don't thrive necessarily with transplant. Also, what's not seen here is tomatoes and peppers. So I've already started tomatoes and peppers a few weeks ago, but it's still not too late to get your tomatoes and peppers started. Now, you'll want to do that ASAP because there's definitely not a tremendous amount of time left to get those the most use out of those particular crops. The big exciting thing for me is getting your brassica started. So if you're not familiar with brassicas, like what is that exactly? Most all of these crops have come from the mustard plant. They're all just different versions of the mustard plant, and over time we have manipulated that crop and changed it so that it could turn into broccoli and cabbage, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. All of these plants are related to the mustard plant. They all pretty much have the same types of growing conditions and requirements. Now, they're definitely not going to thrive well in hotter conditions. They're going to go to seed and bolt just because the origin of where that mustard plant was grown was in a cooler climate. That is why right now might be almost a teensy bit early to start some of these brassicas, but it's not too early to at least get some type of a head start. I'm going to do some Brussels sprouts, and I need to plant these in a different place this year. This is the Catskill Brussels sprouts. I always get the Brussels sprouts to start growing, and then they just don't form Brussels. So I know I'm not putting them in like a really ideal place. So we're gonna fix that this year. We're gonna try something different. Okay, I'm gonna do 12 Brussels sprouts in all. Now, a part of me is a little bit like, you know, when you get all these seeds started and as a result, little plants started, you're gonna have to get your butt in gear and get that garden totally ready. So I know that the pressure is on when it comes to preparing the garden, because once these plants start doing their thing and growing, they're going to want a permanent house not too much shortly after that. So the pressure's on. All right, this is the Waltham 29 broccoli, and if anybody has grown like this particular version of broccoli, let me know, or what your favorite type of broccoli is that you grow. Please drop a comment in the comment section, because last year I had a really good success with cauliflower, but none of my broccoli grew at all. So I don't know what the situation was, but I want more broccoli. Should I do 12, 18 things of broccoli? Is that crazy? I feel like that's a lot of broccoli. I'm gonna need to make a lot of space, but I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna do 18 heads or 18 plants, broccoli starts. These, like broccoli and cabbage, cauliflower, are honestly some of my favorite vegetables, and it's a hard time growing them here in Florida. You have to be a little bit more strategic, I would think, than some of our northerner friends. Really make sure you get like the time right. So I really value the broccoli plants when they come to fruition, or the cauliflower plants, any type of brassicas, because I feel like it's more of a challenge. Okay, tray number 1 is done. Mostly broccoli, just Brussels sprouts and broccoli. Tray number 2. Now last year I grew the most cabbage I've ever grown successfully. You know, with all of these things, it's just a matter of try again. And I'm telling you, I've been gardening for a long time, and it's not until I think like the last year or so where I've been able to actually start growing some of the things that I had been struggling with for years. The Savoy cabbage did phenomenal, and also, like, look how beautiful it is. That's exactly how it looks. It's like so crinkly and it's delicious. It's a very sizable head of cabbage, I will say. I also grew the Copenhagen cabbage, and I need to get some seeds started for those too. I think they're just like, they're too tall. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do some Savoy cabbage in here. Probably 10. I'll do 10 Savoy cabbages. And that's another thing. If you break these popsicle sticks in half, then you'll have even more of them, because you don't really need them to be as tall as they are. And I have to break them in half so they'll fit underneath my outdoor couch, because that's kind of what I do. I don't have like a whole light indoor seed starting station, which would be nice, because I'd like to just keep them all happy inside for as long as possible. But I'm just working with the elements straight out the gate usually. And in Florida, we are fortunate to be able to do that, but also then I have the pressure of making sure I get these seeds in their forever home very quickly. Now last year, what did work and thrive in my climate was the purple of Sicily, and I'm not kidding, it looks just like this. I'm gonna do 10 purple of Sicilies as well, and then honestly in a few weeks I'm going to get another round started. That would be the smartest thing to do. That way, once these ones start kind of getting close to maturity, we've got another round just ready to go. I had so much cauliflower last year, it was crazy. Like, as far as all the brassicas go, like, I like cauliflower. I do feel like it's been very overused in the past like 7 years, since like keto and all that got really popular. But there's a lot you could do with cauliflower. I just personally was not prepared for the amount of cauliflower I had last year. And I'm talking like the heads of cauliflower were gigantic and they were heavy, and it was like we froze a bunch of it and we ate a bunch of it fresh and all kinds of stuff. We were swimming in cauliflower last year. So hopefully I'll be swimming in broccoli this year and Brussels sprouts. You know, I want to grow a plant of Brussels sprouts from start to finish, and my dream, because I've heard of people doing this before, is to get the whole stalk of Brussels sprouts with the Brussels on it and then put it on the grill. So to put that on the big green egg, just like with them on there, like a big kebab, I feel like that would be super cool. So that's my goal. If I grow Brussels sprouts, I will definitely film that and let you guys see how that goes. So I just saw I have another broccoli, because sometimes I just go, when I'm at Home Depot or anything like that, I panic buy seeds because I just can't be without all the options that I need at all times. And then I will also go online and like do a big seed order. It's ridiculous. So anyways, I just saw I have this particular variety of broccoli, the Ciso, I don't even know how to say it, but it looks like a pretty solid option. I will do 10 of these as well, because we do largely everything just no dig, deep mulching. It's all, you know, manpower with sweat equity. We don't own any big machineries or anything like that to do any of this work for us. So I'm thinking at some point I might rent like some type of, I don't even know what it's called, not an excavator, something like that, to help move mulch. I feel like that would be a good investment of time, because what would take me weeks to do would probably just take one afternoon. And I think that would be smart to do right before the seasons get started, because I'm out there doing like 30 wheelbarrows at a time of soil and mulch. It's a good workout, but it's very time consuming. Working on the cauliflower I've been talking about with you guys. Now this must have been the pack, because it's already been open, that I did last year, and holy cow, this was awesome. Early snowball. If you're wondering what cauliflower might work for Florida, this is your guy. So I'm gonna start just 10 of these, because I was like cauliflower crazy last year. If you haven't already heard me talking about it enough. Recently I had someone ask me, oh, what vegetables taste better or different when grown at home versus at the store? And I'm gonna be honest, pretty much all of it does taste different for different reasons, because you're picking different heirloom varieties that have more of a complex flavor that we're not used to, versus at the store it's pretty much just a few varieties that you're exposed to. There are so many varieties of everything out there that people who don't garden might not get the opportunity to taste. So one thing with the cauliflower specifically is the heads of cauliflower are so much bigger than the ones that you get from the store. I'm talking like 2 to 3 times bigger than the heads of cauliflower from the grocery store. And I would imagine it applies the same for your broccoli, because the broccoli, I don't know if it's just me, the broccoli and cauliflower, but every time I go to Aldi, because I'm an Aldi girl, the heads of broccoli and cauliflower are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And what is that? I don't know how they're grown commercially, but they're getting to be teensy tiny, with the price, you know, basically being the same. So I'm just going to say that you're going to get much bigger options, probably because you can grow them longer on your own garden in more ideal conditions, and there's no rush in that way. And that is the biggest reason why tomatoes are so much better when grown at home, because they can ripen longer out in the yard and they start to develop more. I forgot what the chemical is, but it makes them actually a healthier plant too. The fruits are healthier. Okay, so I did find the Copenhagen Market early cabbage, and this grew so well. These are smaller heads. These are smaller heads of cabbage. Ultimately, they're not going to be as big as the Savoy, which I feel like the Savoy cabbage for me is just more like an art piece, honestly. It's just so, like, I hate to harvest it. If anybody else is like that, where they just grow this beautiful fruit or vegetable, and then when it comes time to harvest, it like kind of, it's like bittersweet, because I just love seeing it in the garden. And then once we have to harvest it, it's sad that it's not there anymore. I just saw I have a red acre cabbage. Red acre cabbage grows really well here as well. I wish I would have done the Copenhagen and the red acre and the Savoy all in one tray, but it's fine. Kale. Now I need to buy some more kale. I'm just gonna get the scarlet kale started right now. I'm only gonna get 5 started because honestly, from what I always grow with kale, you only need like 2 or 3 plants of kale, and you have an abundant amount of kale for like months and months and months. So I'm just gonna start 5 of the scarlet kale. It's really beautiful. It is very vibrant in person as well. And pardon some of the mess out here if you guys see, you know, it's a fluid, messy situation on the back porch constantly. Starting some broccoli rapini next. Now these are, they describe it as asparagus-like shoots, and I think that's a really good way to describe the broccoli. Now if you've ever gone to like a kind of high-end chefy restaurant, I feel like they always, like if they're gonna serve broccoli, it's gonna be broccoli rapini, because it's really good at like picking them off and those tender shoots. So I'm gonna start like 10. I'm gonna start 10 of the broccoli rapinis. If anybody has any great suggestions as well that you're not seeing in this video on plants to start, I'm all ears. I'm doing rainbow Swiss chard. One of my favorite things to grow. They're heat tolerant and they are a superfood, also super beautiful. And I feel like they don't taste that different than spinach. So I'm gonna start, looks like 10 Swiss chards. What I also need to start is spinach, but I just didn't have any spinach seed packets. So that is something else you can get started if you're wondering. Oh my gosh, just dropped Swiss chard everywhere. If you're wondering what you can get started, as well as like dill, which I'm gonna start, basil, any type of herbs are going to do really well, just because the climate is about to get really mild, and most of these plants really thrive in more mild climates, with the exception of like okra and eggplant that just are crazy and they love absurd temperatures. So we're going into a really great time of the year. Anything you would typically grow in the spring is going to be appropriate for fall for Florida and these warmer zone climates. And if you don't know which zone you are in, just type in into Google where your city is, and it's going to say like what zone is my, you know, whatever city that you live in, and it's going to pop up exactly what your zone is, and that will give you a lot of guidance on what you can grow when. Next, I'm going to get just a little bit of dill started and arugula. So arugula will grow like crazy so quickly. I love having it around for garnishes, like just a more substantial leafy green garnish for pizzas and things like that. So this is like a ton of arugula. Holy cow. If you're trying to start a garden with little kids and you want like a quick return, start arugula seeds, start Swiss chard seeds, start your radishes. Those things will go from 0 to 60 so quickly, and the kids get really excited about them. Last spring, I feel like our dill plants just got totally eaten up by caterpillars, which is totally fine by me, but we just didn't really get to enjoy a lot of it. So I'm going to grow some more so that the caterpillars can have some and so that we can have some. So I do have a few more openings right here, but I'm going to keep that open for spinach. And what I'm not starting right now, although you would think, is any type of lettuce. It's still, in my opinion, or whatever my experience is, too hot to start lettuce. You can give it a go, but from what I have experienced in the past is lettuce likes really cold temperatures. Any type of warm temperatures approaching like the mid 80s to 90 degrees is going to make it so bitter that it's like not even possible to eat. We did it. We started our cucumbers, our brassicas. Things are on a really fast pace at this point, especially because I have so much winter squash growing and peppers and tomatoes already growing. I think it's going to be my best fall garden ever. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anything can happen at this point. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, watching, listening to me yap and chit chat. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like and definitely consider subscribing if you have not yet, because I'm trying to, put out some really cool content that hopefully you will enjoy. My name is Shelby, and until next time, bye.